can we talk about the Spurs?
Oh, I'd love to.
They gave Devin, I would drink his bathwater Vassell, a 5-year, $135 million guaranteed extension. Some people are still flipping out about the numbers. First of all, there's no player options. It can get up to 147 if he reaches certain incentives, which are not public just yet. No player options. Do you know, as of right now, what the highest percentage of the salary cap that deal is projected to be worth?
Oh man, I don't. I would love for you to tell me. Can I guess the most it'll ever be worth is like 24%?
You can guess, but you would be way wrong. It's in the first year, and it's 16.29% of the salary cap. By the end of that deal, he's projected to be making under 15% of the salary cap. It's you don't need to call it a steal, but like I saw a lot of people like, oh man, his agent deserves like a rent. No. Devin Vassell is absolutely worth 17% of the salary cap. I am fascinated though by the type of player that you think he could become, because, and I don't know if this is a hot take. There's the Victor Wembanyama discussions right there. I want to know how good offensively he's going to be right off the bat. Who is the best shot creator on the Spurs right now? And if it's Wemby, then after Wemby.
Well, I don't think it's Wemby. I think it's Vassell. Like, I mean, like, unless you're just counting Trey Jones because he's a point guard and he actually does create shots, but that's a different.
Just like not as for others probably, like when he's going to make plays in the pocket, but like he wants to get to like very specific spots. Whereas Devin Vassell, there's going to be more variance to how his buckets are coming on the ball or off the ball for sure.
100%. No, I don't even know who's in the conversation besides Vassell.
You know who's actually should be in the conversation? This is the only other name I thought of.
Who?
Malaki Branham.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It's just like that dude. He shot like 90% on flip shots last year. I'm exaggerating, but it really was like in the 60s, I believe. And he's just very comfortable at probably the bottom two levels as opposed to the 3-point level. I still think it's Devin Vassell. This is a player we need to be. And I know that he just averaged, what was it, like 18 points or 19 points per game? This is still someone you need to circle on your list when looking at what he could do defensively, as a passer, as a scorer. Like, he's in the most improved player. Just got like early season most. I might pick him. We haven't done our awards yet. I haven't even thought about them, to be honest with you. But like this, like I'm so high on the future of the Spurs, just having Wemby, Jeremy Sohan, and Devin Vassell. And I know some people want to throw Keldon Johnson in there. I think he's a very useful player. I don't know if he's a core member of this team. Same with Trey Jones, Malaki Branham. This team is just, I don't know how many minutes they're going to play Wemby right off the bat. I look at having Wemby, Sohan, Vassell, Zach Collins. I'm kind of sad that they got rid of Reggie Bullock, who, shout out to him. I'm assuming, I don't know if we have the final details on his deal. I'm guessing because the Rockets had the room exception. That's why he went to Houston, because playing time doesn't seem, but like, I thought he could help them. There's like a chance, I know they're really young, but that the Spurs are a lot better defensively than we think. And I am so in on Devin Vassell that we didn't talk about it yet on this podcast about his extension. I was just surprised. I don't think I saw anyone like lampoon it and say that he's a shitty player and that deal was terrible, but I saw a lot of like, oh man, like his agent moves up a few notches. Ever like, no, he doesn't. This is a deal. We threw out the number, I think, when we were talking on a podcast, or maybe it was when I was talking to Noah Magaro George, where it was like, would you bat an eye if it was 130? And I think we were in agreement. I think it was you and I. We were in agreement. No, there are some people on YouTube like, whoa, you can't do that. No, you absolutely can, and you should, and you did.
Right. I think part of it is, I mean, it was in San Antonio last year. That was a massive mail-in job. And I think he only played like 40-something, 42, I want to say, games last year. I may be wrong, but it's in the neighborhood. And it's like, it's just hard to get noticed as a third-year guy that is basically off the radar after what, like December or January, that just is not, could not be more on the periphery of like broader NBA attention because of where he is and like the fact that he's not playing. But yeah, 18.5 points a game. I think the other thing, he's a good defender, and I think he could get a lot better. And he also did way more ball handling and shot creation. I think he almost doubled, or maybe more than that, assists per game. And it's not assists per game or whatever, but like the types of things he was asked to do with the ball. I think for a minute there, we were kind of like, Devin Vassell, awesome 3-and-D prospect, right? He's just more than that. It's kind of the same way everybody was like, oh, Desmond Bane, good 3-and-D prospect. Oh, no, wait, he can run 10 pick and rolls a game, no problem. Vassell is kind of the next in that line of guys where we pigeonholed him a little early, and I think has just way more that he can do. And if he does excel as more of a Desmond Bane, like jack of all offensive trades type, he might be underpaid now, but he'll be dramatically underpaid at this rate if he becomes like what I think you and I both kind of see as being possible.
Yeah, and look, the turn came. There was last year, like the turn came after the DeJounte Murray trade, where they got him involved as the primary handler in ball screens, and like Trey Jones was the only one who ran more pick and rolls per game on the Spurs last year. Like this is someone who I think that the Spurs, they paid like he could be the second best player on a core of a team that is contending for a title or rather around the outskirts of it. And I think that's absolutely what he can be.
I mean, there's like real, Bradley Beal type of, upside, I think, or maybe it's not even upside. I think he might just be like a Bradley Beal type player, before too long. That's not that we need to use Bradley Beal's contract as a measuring stick for what guys like that are worth, but like it's, more than, what'd you say, 16% of the cap? That's ridiculous.
Where do you want to go next?
I think we got to talk about Toronto. I don't know how much there is to really say. We've kind of crushed them every time we've talked about them. It piques my interest. Masai Ujiri, in the context of talking about, an extension for Pascal Siakam and just sort of general, like, what's the plan stuff. I don't think it's overstating it to say, like, he said guys played selfishly and we're kind of taking a wait and see approach before we start handing out money. That's how I took his comments. And that may be a little unfair. It makes me wonder, like, do we need to reevaluate Ujiri and maybe we've passed that point, as someone, I think for a long time, people would have said this guy might be the best executive in the league. And I think even after that, more recently, he was sort of unassailable. Like how now you can kind of question Greg Popovich as a head coach. Like, has things passed him by a little bit, where it would be blasphemous to suggest that like 3-4 years ago. Maybe a bad analogy because Popovich might be the best coach ever, but like, so just to summarize, Ujiri doesn't do anything with Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet walks. Seems to have been caught off guard by Gary Trent Jr. opting in. In the midst of before that, you make the Jakob Poeltl trade for a first rounder, and then you re-sign him to a contract I think we both agree is above market. And this is all happening in the context of like Scottie Barnes stalled developmentally in year 2, and the broad direction of the team is basically indecipherable. Like we joke about it all the time, but like pick a direction, Raptors. Are you tanking? Are you trying to build around this group? Who's integral? Who's not? What is the long-term plan? At some point, all of that just has to fall at the feet of the decision makers. And now said decision maker is kind of like knocking down the trade value of someone like Siakam by intimating that he played selfishly and has OG Anunoby. And I guess you're lumping him in there too, is someone that you probably need to try to trade and have rebuffed ridiculous, apparently, trade offers for him over the years. And you're going to look at, VanVleet got away. Is that going to happen with 2 more guys? Because you're killing their trade value and it's going to be harder I just like, it's all going, it was already bad for me looking at Toronto from afar. It just feels worse now. And what this is maybe impossible. Like, what logic is there in him saying the things he said? And like, what logic has there been in how they've conducted business with all their guys who are nearing the ends of their contracts? I just like, make it make sense for me.